Hey guys, welcome to United. Welcome to another video. And with the international break, I was going to talk about the Griezmann situation and about Dembele and Trincao needing to be given more minutes from the start. I think that we've seen enough from Griezmann for the time being. And I'm going to touch about the Griezmann situation later on in the video. But I just read something that Rivaldo said very recently about Ousmane Dembele. And I couldn't contain myself from doing a reaction video about it, or like say my thoughts about it. And this is what Rivaldo had to say. Dembele continues to get injured, arriving late for training. He should be much more responsible. If he does his job, if we are playing regularly, he would have all the right in the world to stay at Barcelona. But that is not the case. Dembele has done nothing to return to the club the enormous effort they made with his signing. He seems to be an extraordinary player with magnificent conditions, but as he continues down this path, his contract will end without having shown anything at all. It does not depend on the coach or the club, but on Dembele's commitment. Okay, let's talk about the utter amount of bullshit that I've just read to you, because I'm sorry, this is not an insult to Rivaldo. This is a description. This is an utter piece of shit, what I've just read. Of course that arriving late for training and stuff like that is, you know, it's not acceptable for anyone. But I'm just going to say this. Do you think, guys, really that Dembele is the only player that ever has arrived late to a Barcelona training session? Do you think so? Do you really think so? Because I know for a fact that I know that Semedo has arrived late of maybe 1 or 2 times. I know that Messi has arrived late maybe 1 or 2 times. Like I know that at least most of the players have arrived late to the Barcelona training sessions. Yet again, the only time that we ever hear players arriving late for training sessions is Ousmane Dembele. Not anyone else. Ever. For whatever reason. Only Dembele apparently the only player ever at Barcelona that arrives late to a training session. Would you be surprised by that? And obviously, he says he continues to get injured. Obviously, Dembele, you know, Dembele, one day before the games and before the training sessions, for training, when he shows up for training, he hammers his own knees and he breaks them before he gets to training so he can be injured, you know? Because obviously Dembele wants to get injured. He's happy with getting injured all the time. He's not frustrated by it. He hasn't done everything in his capability that I've seen for the past year to recover from such a thing. It's obviously not responsibility from the coach and the club. Because, you know, the club, I mean, explain to me how the player, all of a sudden a player that arrived from Dortmund and Rennes didn't get a single injury, or like the most of injury that he got was a two-week injury once at Dortmund. And the Barcelona has been systematically injury after injury after injury after injury. They say, you know, Rivaldo is also saying that that he has all the right. If he was world class, basically, if he was able to play regularly, he would have the right to stay at Barcelona. Who is Rivaldo to say who has the right to be a Barcelona player? I'm gonna touch on the Rivaldo thing in a few minutes. Let me just get over the point of what he had to say. Dembele has done nothing to return to the club the enormous effort that they made with his signing. So let me remind you guys. First injury that Dembele sustained against Getafe, which was very unfortunate. You know, just his leg stayed behind. He was planted into the floor, you know, just a very unfortunate injury. He is out for 4 months, or he's supposed to be out for 4 months. He does everything in his power to return for the El Clasico, for his first El Clasico in December. He was supposed to return in January. He recovers in 3 months' time. He does whatever he can to return in 3 months' time. And what does Ernesto Valverde do? Not even on the bench for El Clasico. And he doesn't play until January. So basically, the player did everything that he could to, you know, get back 1 month earlier, and you're not gonna even reward him or anything. You're just gonna be like, okay, you know, I have other players, I'll just use those instead. He does a great game against Chelsea in the second leg of the Champions League that season, and against Roma, you put him in. You keep Suarez, that was playing an absolute dog game, like he was playing an absolute crap game that day against Roma, and you bring in Dembele with like 8 minutes to go when we already had it 3-0 down on the scoreboard. Dembele, after the 2018 World Cup, he was pretty much supposed to be arriving so late to the training session because he was like one of the latter players to arrive from the World Cup as France won it. And Sport and Mundo Deportivo kept saying over and over again, Dembele is not going to take his opportunity. Dembele is not going to return early for training. Dembele, literally a few days later, returns early for training. Returns 2 or 3 weeks early for training. Tell me in what job ever, because this is still a job. Is it a privileged job? Yes, it is. But it's still a job. Tell me in what job you cut 2 or 3 weeks of vacation. We don't see that ever. You don't do that. I wouldn't do that. But they did. Oh, apparently also his injuries are due to him playing Fortnite. So he's the only one that plays with a PS5, with a PS4, Xbox One, right? Because staying late, it's like playing Fortnite. That's how he gets injured, you know. Not because your training sessions are crap. For example, Rafinha at Barcelona, a player that's always getting injured. Rafinha at Celta doesn't get injured. Rafinha at Inter doesn't get injured. I'm pretty sure that when he comes back with PSG, when PSG start playing again, no injuries, or at least he's gonna have maybe 1 or 2, but nothing too serious. For Barcelona, it was always like a 4-month injury or something like that. Coincidentally, right? Umtiti, since we've seen the worst version of Barcelona, like us losing intensity and stuff like that, we haven't been able to recover Umtiti physically. How surprising. Jordi Alba, physically, is just not being able to stay fit. Surprising enough, right? A lot of weird things are happening, but it's only because of the Fortnite, right? If Dembele continues down this path, his contract will end without him having shown anything at all. Well, I've seen Dembele win us El Clásicos, literally. That El Clásico in the Copa del Rey in 2018. He came in from the bench, 2 assists to Luis Suarez, and he was the player that changed the game. But again, it doesn't depend on the coach or the club. It depends on Dembele because, you know, it's pretty normal that you are supposed to be the replacement for Neymar, and the player that was supposed to replace Iniesta ends up playing ahead of you in a position that doesn't suit him at all. So instead of having Dembele play pretty much every game in that left wing, it was first Coutinho and then let's maybe see if Dembele does something. Dembele every game either has to be scoring hat tricks or he's going to be getting criticized for no apparent reason. Please someone explain this to me. And now I'm going to go with the Griezmann stuff. Because Griezmann, I keep seeing people defending Griezmann about saying that, oh, but he's, dragging players out of possession and he's, he's running in behind and he's contributing in defense. I'm like, well, if he's not doing anything else, the very minimum that he could do is that. But I'm telling you, he doesn't even do the defensive work or running behind as great as Ludovic Joly, Pedro, Alexis Sanchez, Samuel Eto'o. So, come on, man. Griezmann, I hope to not see Griezmann back when we start La Liga. We either see Trincao or we see Dembele, but not Griezmann. Griezmann needs to go to the bench because, we're trying to recuperate Griezmann's best. But if we cannot get it, we're going to end up with the worst Griezmann and the worst Dembele. Meaning that that's a double losing right there. If you're going to lose on one player, make sure that you're at least able to get something out of the other one. If you cannot get Griezmann back because he just doesn't suit the style that we're trying to play, he just doesn't suit the position that he's being played in, then try Ousmane Dembele or try Trincao, try whoever, but try something different. And now let's go with Rivaldo. Some of you guys might be about my similar age. I'm 22 years old. I was born when Rivaldo was a Barcelona player, but obviously I was very little. I didn't see that area completely, but I've known about it. I've seen Rivaldo play. I've seen a lot of Louis van Gaal's Barcelona, and I know what happened. I know about the Figo situation and stuff like that, and I know that Figo's a very hated person in Barcelona, with all the right in the world. You guys have all your right. Me, myself, I didn't live the situation so heatedly, but I mean, I know that a lot of people have something against Luis Figo, and I completely understand that. But let me just remind you, Luis Figo was a player that was at Barcelona before he went to Real Madrid for 5 years. I believe he was also like first in line to be captain after Pep Guardiola, so he was our second captain or something like that. And he should have been the player to get his contract renovated. The reason that he went is that he didn't get his contract renovated with Barcelona. That instead we decided to renew the contract of Rivaldo, that just won the Ballon d'Or. Because at that time we were playing with a 4-3-3, with Rivaldo at left wing, Patrick Kluivert at striker, and Luis Figo at right wing. That looks like a pretty good forward line, doesn't it? Like, it looks like very good historic names. And it was. But Luis Figo, after winning the Ballon d'Or, the guy all of a sudden says to Van Gaal, either you put me down the middle, or I'm not going to play anymore. And straight up, that's what happened. Luis Van Gaal, he wanted Figo out of the team. I mean, not Figo. He wanted Rivaldo out. He wanted Rivaldo out and bring in Overmars from Arsenal. And Overmars did end up coming up. Too bad that they had sacked Van Gaal and you tried to do something completely different. That's why Overmars failed. But hey, let's not talk about that, right? Well, let's go. Going back to Rivaldo. Rivaldo, mid-season, tells the coach that he either changes the squad up, changes what's already working and working perfectly fine, just to, so a player can, you know, because obviously down the middle he was gonna go give more assists, score more goals, and you know, it would be better for him individually, but not for the team. What ended up happening that season was that we won nothing. We were on the course of winning possibly a treble, but at least a Champions League and a Liga, and we ended up winning nothing that season. All because the diva, the prima donna, Rivaldo, decided that, okay, you know, I just won the Ballon d'Or, I'm like the best thing in the world, so either you put me down the middle or I'm not gonna play anymore. Affecting your teammates, affecting what the coach needs to do, because you're basically making the coach change a system that's already working. By the way, that's the worst thing that you can do. If something is working, don't change it. Like, if something is working perfectly fine, don't change anything. But Rivaldo didn't get that memo. And that's basically how Barcelona ended up playing a season in the Europa League. Thanks to Antich, that he did a great job after arriving. We are really bad. I mean, we had a second bad spell with Van Gaal because the team was a complete disaster. We had like very, very mediocre players. Our economy was destroyed. I remember that Gaspar brought in, I think I already talked about this, Gaspar decided to bring in Riquelme. I mean, you can only sign, like, you have very little money, and Van Gaal said, I don't need Riquelme, I need other things from the squad. Gaspar goes ahead and brings Riquelme. It is what it is. You had Rivaldo and stuff like that, and, well, all you have to know is that Barcelona, last season of Gaspar, we had to fight to get into the Europa League. Yeah, you heard me right. Barcelona had to fight to get into the Europa League after being Champions League winners, after being league winners consecutively. And that's what happens when you build your project around stars. And the thing that annoys me the most is that Rivaldo, he's able to walk into the Camp Nou like as if nothing happened. People have great memories of Rivaldo. Like, apparently they have very short-term memory, because I'm not forgetting that. I didn't even live that period. And I think that's tragic what happened. Like, Rivaldo shouldn't be able to set a foot on the Camp Nou if it was up to me. But all of a sudden, I mean, I see critics for Luis Suarez, for Ivan Rakitic, for Sergio Busquets, and Rivaldo. Everyone's like, Rivaldo's the greatest in the world. Like, they all love Rivaldo, but hate on Suarez, hate on Rakitic, hate on Busquets, who have been infinitely better legends, infinitely more professional, and been given better performances than Rivaldo. All of them better players in their respective areas. So, this is... I just want to finish this video by saying that the main responsibility of what happens to Barcelona is always and forever going to be the fans. The fans are in charge of what happens to the club, good or bad. Because if the fans and the socios have the short-term vision of, we win today against Celta Vigo and Villarreal, oh, we're going to win the treble. We tied against Sevilla, oh, we're so crap. Like we need to have a longer-term vision. We need to do analysis based on performances, based on how things are being done, not by results. Because short-term results, let me just tell it to you. Short-term results is how you get electing Bartomeu after he was about to sack Luis Enrique on November, and Bartomeu was pretty much not going to even show himself because of how bad the season was going to end in the 2014-15 season. To a few changes, Messi, Suarez and Neymar working, the team generally just working that season, and we ended up winning a brilliant treble. But it's still short-term success. The analysis back then should have been, okay, we have great players, and we have the structure that Laporta and Guardiola left for us. We still have the Messi, the Xavis, the Iniestas, Busquets, Piqué, Dani Alves, Jordi Alba. Like, we still had those kind of players in. And instead, what we decided to do was, let's think short term. Bartomeu is the greatest in the world because we won a treble. But what happens then? What happens is that you see long term, you allow these people to do what they actually wanted to do, which was no surprise. I know that Bartomeu and Sandro Rosell were always gonna be doing this with Barcelona, always gonna be doing their own thing, not respecting La Masia, not respecting how Barcelona used to do things. And then you have accidents, or no accidents, you have catastrophes, like PSG, like Juventus, like Roma, like Liverpool, like Bayern. We need to change this mentality. Because if not, there's no hope. There's no hope. I just want to finish the video by saying what I wanted to get what the point of this video was across is Griezmann out for the time being, at least from the start 11. Dembele and Trincao have more opportunities, and we need to see more of this team. And we need to take better decisions when analyzing stuff. Anyways, guys, we all said and done, guys. Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next one, Blaugranas.